Are you still feeling tired regardless of how much sleep you're getting? It might not just be in your head. Actually, according to science, it might be some of these exact tips that you're making without even knowing. And so in this video, I'm going to teach you how to fix those so that you can actually sleep and feel refreshed instead of feeling worse when you wake up. ASMR. Hey friends, what's up? It's me, Emily Kuma, and here on Elevate with Em, where I teach you how to elevate your life with lifestyle tips on finance, health, and just wellness in general. Back to the actual focal point of this video, which is how to sleep better using science-based and backed lifestyle tips. Coming in at number 1 is to wake up and go to bed the same day every day. Yes, that also means even on weekends. What happens is you want to make sure that you're regulating your circadian rhythm. Our bodies are biologically made to really crave habit and routine and like the same thing over and over again. So instead of confusing your body and when to start creating melatonin and when to sleep and wake up, it's easier just to consistently do it over and over again. I know especially for older adults, I've noticed that they tend to wake up the same time every single time, even without an alarm. Or if you've been working for a long time and you find that you're constantly doing that naturally, it's because our body really craves habits. And so knowing that, we should really support our bodies be able to have really good sleep through a long period of time. And yeah, it does kind of suck if you have to wake up early, especially on the weekends if you wake up early during the weekdays for work. But I honestly find that I am a lot more productive when I wake up early enough where it's still super quiet and I'm able to just kind of lock in and do whatever it is that I need to do. So think of this also maybe as a productivity hack as well. Step number 2, or tip number 2, would be to get sunlight and natural light as soon as possible, at least within an hour of waking up, maybe for 10 to 20 minutes. This could mean just opening up your curtain and opening your window, kind of taking 5 minutes to journal or make yourself a cup of coffee and just kind of have that time to soak in the sunlight literally. It's great for not only having vitamin D, but it also tells your photoreceptors that it's time to wake up, which can help you regulate your circadian rhythm as well. I don't know if you're noticing now that there is kind of a theme to a lot of these different tips, but it's mostly to really enhance your body's physiological natural cycles and really helping support your body to know when it's time to sleep and when it's time to wake up. And so for the third tip would be to limit blue light maybe an hour before bed. And that means, yes, your phone, which I know can be really hard. I tend to sleep honestly now with Do Not Disturb, just because even though it's like I get text messages from people that I really like, once I get on my phone, I just can't sleep after that. And so I end up originally getting into bed by 10 and then like not sleeping until like 2 or 3 in the morning. So don't want to do that. I don't want to get in my bed. Once I'm in my bed, it is time to sleep. So I try to either read books or do scrap journaling, something that doesn't have to do with technology, since I do a lot of stuff like YouTube and other stuff remotely on technology the whole time. So it's nice to kind of unplug and unwind. And the reason why blue light is not good, I know that a lot of people say not to go on your phone, but the reason behind it is because blue light actually suppresses your body in making melatonin, which is what you need to sleep and is that hormone that really, or the substance in your body that really tells your cells it's time to go to sleep in your brain. The next tip would be to actually lower your body temperature and lower your core body temperature by at least 2 to 3 degrees. And I think the reason why, I'm assuming, is because your body kind of assumes, like during nighttime, right, it gets a lot colder than the daytime, and so when things get cooler during the nighttime and the evening, that's when your body knows, okay, maybe it's time to unwind and to go to sleep. Your body is constantly looking for these external cues, right, to kind of gauge how to set their internal clock. And so that's why it's good to be in an environment that's a little bit cooler when you're trying to sleep. And for kind of more soothing effect, it can be nice to take a warm shallow. It can be good to take a warm shower and kind of relax your muscles as well. Do it consistently in a routine so your body and your mind are synced and they know when it's time to go to bed. This is a really important one that I think people don't understand, or maybe they do the math wrong, but I would say to really limit your caffeine intake and be careful as to when exactly you're having it. A lot of times people think, oh, as long as I drink a cup of coffee by maybe like 4 hours before I go to bed, and that's like the closest I can do, it's fine. But that's not actually true. You want to avoid drinking caffeine 6 to 8 hours before you go to bed, because the half-life of caffeine is 4 hours, meaning that a half-life is exactly what the name entails, is that, say for example, you take a cup of coffee and it has, usually it's 90 milligrams, so I'm going to just say for simple math, like 100 milligrams of caffeine, right? After 4 hours, the half-life, or the amount of caffeine that's remaining in your system, is about half, so 50 milligrams, which is half of 100 milligrams. Which means that no, the coffee is not completely gone after 4 hours in your system. There's still half of it left, hence the half-life. Which is why instead of waiting only 4 hours, you want to make sure you set enough buffer time, so 8 hours before you go to bed. So that means if you have a really early bedtime of 8 p.m., you're not going to want to drink coffee anytime past 12 p.m. So I guess if you go to bed at 10, then you don't want to drink past 2 p.m. Next tip is you want to have a consistent wind down routine. Whether that means journaling 5 minutes in the same space. I even think it's helpful to have the same wind down routine within the same room all the time, especially because once again, your body is looking at the external stimulus, right, to try to decide when it's time to go to sleep or when to wake up, when to produce all these hormones, etc., etc. So if you have maybe in the corner of your room like a beanbag chair that this is your first part of your wind down routine, the first step, right? You sit down in your journal, you're writing things, your body kind of starts to get more tired because it knows right after you sit in the beanbag chair, you do your skincare and you go to sleep, or something like that. It's as long as it's a consistent routine and it's not something with too crazy stimulus. Like obviously you don't want to be listening to rock music right before you go to bed because your heart rate tends to match, I think, at least according to some studies, the music that you listen to. Or even if that's not the case, or there's a new study that comes out that that's not true, you still don't want extreme external stimulus that is going to disrupt this typical, consistent, smooth wave of just kind of unwinding. So choose what you want, but make sure you have a consistent unwinding routine. I would say the last thing would be to really optimize and have good sleep hygiene, as well as keeping track of your environment. You want a clean, dark, non-cluttered room or environment that you're sleeping in. If you really need to, maybe invest in some blackout curtains. Also just determining whether you breathe through your mouth. Like I've noticed that while sleeping with mouth tape has actually been really, really beneficial for me. If you're interested, I'm going to put it in the link to my, not bio, but description, because those have actually been a life changer. My dentist really recommended it to me. I was a little bit skeptical and honestly kind of scared to try it, but it's pretty good. And even maybe a sleep mask or something like that. Whatever you need to really make sure that you're not getting that external stimulus when you're sleeping is important. And something that I noticed, like kind of more testimonially, is when I was really decluttering my room. I was like moving back from my apartment near USC, and I had all these different things when I came home. I had like tons of piles of clothes and other stuff, but I felt like I couldn't sleep, or like my brain couldn't mentally rest well, because I just felt so like cramped or suffocated with all these different things in my room. But compared to when my room is typically more minimalistic, there's not as much stuff. And even though I'm not like touching the stuff or anything, that's not in my way, right? I think just having that visual stimuli of just having all these different things and looking at it, I feel like my brain is subconsciously sort of categorizing all these different things, and I'm using mental energy to look and evaluate all that stuff. And I don't want to be doing that when I'm trying to sleep and rest. So I think it's better just to have a clean environment that is peaceful, that is slightly cooler, right? And is dark, so you can just hit the haystack and go to bed. As a health consultant, I think sleep is one of the most biggest aspects of just being healthy in general. If you want to get rid of inflammation, you want to improve your mood, you want to recalibrate your brain, just making sure that you are at your optimal physical ability, I think sleep is really important. So let me know in the comments which of these tips that you like, or maybe even share some tips that you really enjoy. I'd love to hear more about it, and I'm sure the other people here who wanted to improve their sleep would also benefit from that. That's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be sharing more health tips later. Bye!